You won't believe what happened next. Imagine finishing your summer holidays not just with a tan, but with the ability to fold your laundry and scrub the dishes perfectly clean with a single wave of your hand. That was life for Jake and Lily, the Jupiter twins. After 6 weeks of using their newfound magic from the Lyra Academy to help around the house, their parents were practically convinced that having 2 young magicians was the ultimate household blessing. But as the sun began to set on their holidays, the twins felt a familiar tug at their hearts. As much as they loved climbing trees with friends and getting lost in their favorite books, they were desperate to get back to the hidden world beneath the city. One morning, while the twins were on their bedroom floor meticulously building a massive block castle complete with turrets and a bright blue moat, their mum walked in with a mysterious piece of paper. She admired their handiwork, but pointed out a glaring flaw. The castle was missing a gate. With a quick tap from Jake, a wooden gate with iron portcullises appeared, perfectly functional. But the real magic was in her hand. It was a letter from Dr. Howard, the head teacher of Lyra Academy. The letter was the official call to return, complete with a shopping list of enchanted supplies. But there was a new, thrilling addition this year. The twins had finally reached the age where they were entitled to bring a magical companion animal or vegetable to live with them in their dormitories. The excitement in the room was electric. Their mum announced they were heading to York that very afternoon to gather everything they needed. In record time, the twins had their teeth brushed and bags packed, ready to go before the 20-minute deadline was even up. The journey to York was a blur of houses flying past the train window and streets filled with cars that looked like tiny toys from the high railway bridges. Once they arrived, their mum led them through the historic, cobbled streets to a narrow stone staircase that seemed to appear out of thin air. These steps had a special charm. You could only find them if you already knew they were there. They emerged into a wide, magical square, a hidden hub of cauldrons, wands, and broomsticks. Their first stop was a dark, muffled shop filled with soft robes and pointed hats. A tailor with a mass of curly gray hair used a self-flying measuring tape that snaked around Jakey's shoulders and Lily's forehead with a flourish. Jake chose a deep, bottle green cloak fastened with silver string, while Lily picked an elegant felt hat adorned with a rare blue feather. The shopkeeper claimed the feather came from an Arctic bird capable of freezing water with a single flap. A quick wave over a drink, and it would be as cold as if it had been in the fridge. Next, they visited a stationery shop with a bright purple sign. The shopkeeper, a woman with matching purple lipstick, showed them the latest in magical organization. They bypassed the lunapads, notepads that waxed and waned with the moon, making notes disappear on a new moon, and opted for the bestseller, a notebook that automatically filed notes by subject and moved the facts you had quite memorized to the front for easier revision. The highlight of the trip, however, was the bewitched bookstore. Inside, the walls stretched up into a seemingly infinite tower of books, smelling of old parchment and golden dust. An old lady in a rattling metal contraption descended from the heights to greet them. She invited the twins into her machine, and with 2 taps of her finger, they went soaring up the shelves. Jake nervously plucked a book titled Spells in the Dark, which had 3 bright blue eyes that stared at him until it was tucked into his basket. Lily added a book of fairy tales to their growing pile of textbooks, and they descended back to the ground floor where their mum was waiting. As they prepared to head back to the non-magical world, the twins suddenly grabbed their mum's sleeves. They weren't done. The most important item wasn't on the list. The magical companions. They rushed into the pet emporium, a wild space filled with magicians' rabbits, crafty cats, and enchanted trees. After much deliberation, Lily emerged with a bright green slug that sat perfectly in her palm T-base part. It could talk. When Lily prompted it, the slug gave a polite hello to their stunned mother. Jake, on the other hand, chose something from the vegetable kingdom. A magical cabbage plant in a yellow ceramic pot. Its bushy leaves twinkled with starlight and possessed incredible healing properties. One bite of a leaf could cure almost any minor ailment. Their mom couldn't help but burst into a fit of giggles. She imagined the chaos of a dormitory where a toki slug lived next to a magical cabbage. "You'll have to be careful," she laughed, "that the slug doesn't eat the cabbage." Jay grinned, noting that if the slug did eat it, at least they knew he'd never get sick. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the family headed back to the station, their bags heavy with shimmering hats, self-sorting notebooks, and their two new strange friends. Climbing back up the secret stone stairs, Jake leaned over and whispered to his sister that he couldn't wait for school to start. Lily, looking at her talking slug and her new feathered hat, smiled back. She couldn't wait either. It's amazing how a single letter can turn a normal summer into the start of a legendary adventure. If you're ready to see what happens when the twins finally arrive at the academy with a talking slug and a healing cabbage, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of their journey. For now, take a deep breath. Let the magic of the day settle and drift off into your own enchanted sleep. Good night. You won't believe what happened next. The train ride home felt twice as fast as the journey there. Mostly because the twins were busy getting to know their new roommates. Lily spent the trip whispering to her bright green slug, who turned out to be quite the conversationalist, offering witty observations about the passing sheep in a tiny, refined voice. Meanwhile, Jake sat protectively by his shimmering cabbage, watching the starlight twinkle on its leaves and wondering if the plant could hear his thoughts. Their dad was waiting at the door when they arrived, the smell of a home-cooked roast filling the hallway, and his eyebrows nearly disappeared into his hairline when the slug politely thanked him for opening the door. The final few days of summer were a whirlwind of magical preparation. The twins didn't just pack their trunks, they curated them. Every time Lily opened her Lunapad, the pages seemed to glow with an icy blue light that matched her Arctic bird feather. She spent hours practicing the quick dry spells she'd learned the year before, ensuring her new robes were crisp and ready. Jake, on the other hand, was obsessed with the three-eyed book, Spells in the Dark. He'd sit in his darkened room, and as soon as the sun went down, the book's blue eyes would pop open, casting enough light for him to read the secret chapters on protective charms. But as the final night approached, a strange sort of quiet settled over the Jupiter household. The excitement was still there, bubbling under the surface, but it was mixed with that classic end of summer nostalgia. They sat on the porch one last time, watching the fireflies dance in the garden. Jake's cabbage plant seemed to pulse in time with the crickets, and Lily's slug was unusually quiet. Tucked into a small velvet-lined matchbox she'd made for its travels, their mom sat between them, resting her hands on their shoulders. "Another year of making the impossible possible," she whispered. "Just remember, the real magic is you ante and the wands, or the slugs eat S, in the way you two look out for each other." That night, sleep didn't come. The twins lay in their beds, staring at the ceiling, imagining the grand stone halls of the Lyra Academy and the smell of old parchment and flickering torches. They thought about the floating candles in the dining hall, and the way the staircases liked to change direction just when you were late for potions class. Every little sound in the house, the creak of a floorboard, the hoot of an owl, sounded like a secret message from the academy. Eventually, the rhythmic breathing of their new companions began to act like a lullaby. The slug gave a tiny, contented sigh from its matchbox, and the cabbage leaves ruffled softly in the moonlight. Jake and Lily closed their eyes, their minds drifting away from the mundane world and back into the architecture of their dreams. They were no longer just kids in a suburban bedroom. They were magicians on the edge of a new horizon. Now, as the moon hangs high over the city and the twins finally drift into a deep, peaceful slumber, let your own thoughts do the same. Imagine the weight of your day lifting just like Jake's floating measuring tape. Felt this soft, cool air of the magical square in yours, surrounding you, wrapping you in a blanket of absolute safety. You are prepared. You are ready, and the journey ahead is more wonderful than you can imagine. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your night. May you find deep peace and restful sleep. Wishing you the sweetest dreams. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.